This is the AM News. Welcome aboard the program. Details now. In our Doomsday Diaries today, we take you to Kumasi, where the recent power outages have plunged many businesses into an economic downturn as they begin to incur huge losses. Some small businesses like car washing bays are now returning to their days of fetching heavy buckets of water to wash dirt of vehicles. The situation is not only biting hard on the car washers, but their clients who've had to expand productive hours hoping to get served. Emmanuel Bright-Kweku reports for today's episode of our Doomsday Diaries.
On any ordinary day, gushing water out of this water gun is the loudest sound you would hear at this washing bay. But it hasn't been the case in the past few months, following the unannounced power outages experienced across the country. Fetching of water from a nearby well has become the daily routine for the workers, presenting a daunting task. Samuel Sapon has been a car wash attendant for 6 years. It ordinarily would take him 20 minutes to complete a full car wash with a water gun, but he's now spending close to 2 hours to hand wash.
To spend 2 hours on a car without light and spend 30 minutes on a car with light, you have to see what I'm trying to go. The money is all going, but at the end of the day, we are going to say we don't have money in the system.
He is pressured to complete the car wash as quickly as possible as his client, Fuzi Hussein, awaits to drive it off to the office.
There are some people who are using plant. They are dependent on fuel to power their machines. Yeah, but right now we don't have that one over here. That's why it's giving me that pressure to finish up early. So if I don't finish up early, he's going to take his car away and I'm going to lose.
Fuzi had hoped to get his vehicle washed within a few minutes to continue with the day's activities, but he's wasting most of his productive time at the washing bay.
I have a lot of meetings to attend to, but I'm still sitting here. If I had known, I would have decided to wash it in the house. I wouldn't have even moved out in the first place. But what else? What can I do? So I thought here would have been the quickest side for me to get my car and then attend to my meeting, but then see what's happening.
How many times do you wash your car?
In a day, maybe 2 times, or maybe 3, depending on where you move to.
Meaning you're going to spend like 4 hours just washing?
Just for washing, you can imagine. The
prolonged car wash is plunging the business into an economic quagmire. Profit margins have been on a spiral trend lately. Akwesi Sapon has been operating the washing bay for close to a decade now.
Office ni 20 cedis maybe the older mama boys na boy no Roma and it depends on
we charge 20 cedis per car wash. It depends on the car you are washing. Profits have been low now. We now get about 300 Ghana cedis a day as compared to the previous 800 Ghana cedis.
Close to 10 attendants work here every day, but the recent power cuts have rendered a number of them redundant. This has been a job that puts food on the tables of these young men and their families and supported them in establishing other businesses.
I only get 3 to 5 cars daily. This is what I use to cater for my family.
While the government refused calling it doomsday, affected Ghanaians are hoping for an immediate solution to the power crisis wreaking financial havoc.
This thing started way back, and if it is happening today, we should understand that it is something you can't take it off. Imagine I have spent over 2 hours here because there's no light, because machines are being blown, and they should stop politicizing electricity to their politics and so-called politics that they are doing.
Until the power challenges are resolved, these attendants must endure the pain of moving to and fro for water under the sweltering weather to fend for themselves and family. For JoyNews, my name is Emmanuel Bright-Kweku.
Now, when the rain comes with strong wind, Accra doesn't only experience flooding. Trees, poles and billboards sometimes are brought down. In the ministry's police station area on Tuesday, the National Disaster Management Organization was called in to assist. Caleb Osei Mensa reports. Read to you.
Our workers of the National Disaster Management Organization at work to remove this billboard, which collapsed onto the middle of the road during Tuesday's rainstorm. The road between the Ministry Police Station and the court complex had been blocked for about half an hour when our news team got to the scene. The men at work were determined to get the job done, risking their well-being. Faustina is a hawker along the stretch. She narrates how it all happened. Madame Rebecca Odoi is a commissioner of oath at the ministries. She believes prompt repair works on such boards would have prevented the incident.
When the billboard fell down, actually I didn't know what to do, but I was inside. When people were complaining that the way they installed the billboard was not safe, so it can easily lead to a dangerous situation. If they install the billboard, they have to make sure that the billboard is fair. It will not fall down when there's rainy season, because the wind, many times when the wind is so much, even trees can easily fall down and it will lead to accidents.
At the time of our departure from the scene, the dedicated workers of the National Disaster Management Organization had cleared the road. Caleb Osei Mensa's report for JoyNews.
In other stories, the coalition of unemployed teachers have described as looming danger in the education sector following government's delay in employing the first batch of B.Ed graduates. According to the group, even though government had promised the portal would be open in April for recruitment, government has failed its promise. The president of the coalition, Mohammed Muntala, said this when he addressed the media in Tamale.
The coalition of unemployed teachers is a group of professionally trained teachers from the country's 46 public colleges of education who are currently unemployed. It comprises graduates from 2022 and 2023. Today, the press conference held in Tamale is a follow-up to previous action taken by the coalition to draw government's attention. Speaking at a news briefing, the president of the coalition, Mohammed Muntala, questioned how government can measure the success or otherwise of the new B.Ed program when the pioneers of the program are left home unemployed.
When a new program has been implemented and millions of state resources have been used in training us to allow us to stay home and remain unemployed, how then do you measure the successes or otherwise of the new B.Ed program when the pioneers of the program are left home unemployed and to their fate? What is keeping the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service from coming out to explain things to the public and this batch of teachers in particular? These are all questions left unanswered in our thoughts.
Mohammed Muntala questioned how government can measure the success or otherwise of the new B.Ed program when the pioneers of the program are left home unemployed.
Ladies and gentlemen, our situation has become dire in that even most of our colleagues or members who out of frustration decided to apply to teach in private schools are not being recruited or accepted with the notion that government will employ them soon, yet we are still in the house and we are not being employed by government. Can you imagine this? Also, as we speak, there is a looming danger in the education sector or fraternity if we are not employed immediately. For our juniors, the 2023-year group are equally done and are currently doing their national service. So if we are not recruited immediately, there is a possibility of creation of backlogs in the education sector which is novel or has never happened before.
Some of the graduates spoke of the challenges they face at home.
When we are at our marital homes, we find it difficult to take care of ourselves and of our children. So we are pleading on the government, we are pleading on them to post us now.
We've gone through a lot of challenges whilst we were in school, and after completion, we thought it wise that after doing our mandatory national service, which is 1 year, and then after successfully writing our teacher license exam and passing through, we were supposed to be employed. But unfortunately, from the side of government, we are sitting home. And let me be honest with you, our parents are not happy as sitting home. In fact, some parents see us as liabilities.
The Kumasi International Airport will be commissioned and operationalized in June this year. That's according to the Transport Minister, Akufo-Addo. He says the opening of the airport to traffic would ease the burden on air travelers in the northern parts of the country who have to commute a long distances to Accra for their international travels. According to the Ghana Airports Company, an estimated 800,000 air passengers are expected to use the new facility annually. My colleague Ohiming Tewia has more in this following report.
Construction works on Phase 2 of the Kumasi International Airport over a 30-month period started in 2018. The modern airport, which means International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO standards, is expected to be named after the 13th Ashanti King, Sir Osei Ajimai Prempeh I. With Phase 3 expected to be completed in September this year, it will allow for the use of boarding bridge, extension of the existing runway and its associated aeronautic ground lighting system, as well as fire station and air traffic control. This is Project Director Nana Amitepe taking the Transport Minister and officials of the Ghana Airport Company through the current state of the airport.
Once the runway is in operation, it will manage the critical aircraft of 737-800. All right. The runway is also to be extended, and the runway currently is under 2 kilometers. The intention is to take it over 2 kilometers. So, but that is the Phase 2 works. For Phase 3, the terminal is built approximately 12,000 squares on 3 levels. So where we are standing now is the first level. We have the second level and then the third level. The third level is more of the facilitation to the aero bridges. So, and then some security areas, CCTV rooms where it will be dealt by the AFSEC. So where we are is where you begin to travel. And when we get to the second level is when you begin to exit. In terms of the works, the contractor has finished all his contractual obligations under the contract, and that Ghana Airport have taken over under the recommendation of the consultants.
The Transport Minister announced the ministry have initiated processes of operational readiness airport transfer to allow for assimilation of all airport systems as Ghana Airport Company takes over the facility from the contractor ahead of the commissioning.
Per the contractual arrangement we had with the consultant and the contractor, they finish the facility. The rest is for Ghana Airport Company to take over the facility and put it to use. But before we could do that, it is important that we run a test of the equipment we have, because per ICAO standard, we need to make sure that all those things are functional. So Ghana Airport Company has taken over the facility. We are running the individual tests, and after that we need to synchronize all the system to make sure that it is functional. So it was important that I come here myself together with MD and other management and board members of Ghana Airport Company to see what the contractor has done. Per the information from the consultant, they are certified that the good job has been done. Not only that, Ghana Airport Company has also attested to the fact that they are also certified with the level of work which has been done. It fits international standard because ICAO has certified that we can use it for international standard. So ladies and gentlemen, basically this is what we've done. We are planning to commission this facility before the end of May. And per the Ghana Airport, we are looking that by the end of June, we should start operationalize this terminal.
The new facility comes with a 4-level security check for the in-flight smuggling of illegal materials and illicit drugs. Engineer John Paul Abraham is the electromechanical manager for the Ghana Airport Company.
Log in, and then the system is working. The machine will do the first line of screening, and when the machine detects anything, it passes the information to the level 2 screener, who will also do the analysis of it. If the the human being says, no, this bag is threatful and it needs to be re-looked, then he will reject. So this is where we do the reject and accept of a bag.
Meanwhile, Mr. Esiama has expressed concerns over the maintenance of the facility.
My concern is not only about how we're going to put it to use in the maintenance level and how this will be functional so that our people will benefit from it. For me, that is where my concern is.
From Kumasi, for JoyNews, Oyemiteria reporting.
Now, from Kumasi, let's come back to Accra, where the Education Minister, Dr. Yaosey has admitted there is a serious infrastructure challenge that has plagued the implementation of the Free Senior High School program. This has led to overcrowding in many schools, leading to the implementation of a double-track system. While some schools have now ended the shift system, other schools continue to implement it. Speaking at an event to tell the Free Senior High School story, the minister said government will not relent in fixing all the problems facing the program, assuring the public the double-track system will be ended in due course.
The Free Senior High School is nearing a decade of implementation, and according to the Education Minister, Dr. Yaosey, while infrastructure remains a challenge, government is committed to fixing that and eroding double track in all schools. Dr. Educhum says while critics focus on the negatives, he and his team at the Education Ministry are working to make the Free Senior High School an all-round success.
I hear all the time people talking about the Free Senior High School, and they don't tell the story of the children who were here. You have to look at something negative and focus on that. They are not focusing on the story of the children. This is a program that has touched many lives.
In his presentation, Dr. Educhum highlighted that government has not abandoned basic schools as the NDC claims.
But I know there are some who are watching from home and around the world, and they are saying, what about basic schools? Have you abandoned them? So they will say, yeah, I will give you credit. You've done well with senior high school. But if you abandon basic schools, children are sitting on the trees, and you're talking about drones. To them, I have a response. I look forward to a day when parents will line up in front of our public schools and beg to enroll their children. That is the day. And it will soon come. And it has begun under Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. Let me move. This is your junior high school.
Meanwhile, some beneficiaries of the Free Senior High School STEM education shared with JoyNews the experience of undertaking a holistic science and technology education.
It was such a thrilling experience. We got to see different kinds of people from different countries. We got to see Nigerians, Chinese, Philippines, and other stuff. And we actually cooperated with them very well. And people of Japan also are welcoming and very nice people. And they also let us in on some of their inventions. They made us see how to cure kidney stones and everything. And also, we interacted with some of their high school kids who are at the same level with us. And then our interactions with them were actually quite impressive. For our school, we will be inventing an airplane very soon, because we've seen that it's quite an easy mechanism for some aspects of it. So very soon we'll be implementing an airplane and many more. And for sanitation too, we are also developing, with the help of our team, we are also developing various ideas. So very soon you'll hear from us.
The Education Ministry believes in the new policies it continues to put in place in the implementation of the Free Senior High School program, which they say will fix its challenges and deliver on quality education outcomes.
Away from that, an associate professor of finance at the University of Ghana, Professor Lord Mensa, says the proposed 24-hour economy by NDC flag bearer John Mahama must be led by the private sector, since it is the only way to make it sustainable. The viability of the promise has been questioned by the NPP, while others have said it has already been implemented. Now, speaking at an event to launch the GRASAG reports on the policy, Professor Lord Mensa said if the policy is implemented well, it can revolutionize Ghana's economy. There's more in this report.
The idea behind the 24-hour economy is to promote around-the-clock economic activity in key sectors to boost productivity, create jobs, and stimulate economic growth. This initiative is aimed at moving beyond traditional working hours and harness the potential of extended operating hours to drive development and competitiveness. Associate Professor of Finance from the University of Ghana Business School, Lord Mensa, says it is prudent that the private sector leads the implementation of the 24-hour economy to make it sustainable.
For infrastructure, we have some key sectors that already we have certain base of infrastructure that we can leverage on. I mean, when you talk about Port, you talk about some of the hospitals, you talk about, government-oriented infrastructure that I think, we can leverage on to start this 24-hour economy. But then, I've been emphasizing on private sector-led, 24-hour economy. If it becomes only government solely, owned, policy, it may not be sustainable. But then I'm looking at a situation where we take advantage of the IMF program, which is limiting government borrowing. In the end, government find a way to reduce, the borrowing, and by so doing, we can read budget and have budget deficit, which will require less financing, and the government being in public always borrowing will be less, and so the banks will now start channeling funds to the private sector, and the private sector will start expanding by employing, and gradually will shift the policy into the hands of the private sector, and that will be sustainable.
On his part, economist and lecturer at the University of Professional Studies, Dr. Peter Boamo Tukono, emphasized the need to intensify security measures as part of implementation plans for the policy.
Well, the need for security in a 24-hour economy cannot be overemphasized. And it is actually going to be the backbone for the survival of the policy. Because a businessman will not invest to run his business 24 hours and would have to deal with security concerns. And for any businessman, the biggest part of their expenditure, or for any surviving economy, the biggest part of their expenditure is security. And so if government is able to offload that portion of a burden to any investor or to any businessman, the businesses would do their 24 hours.
National President of the Graduate Students Association of Ghana, Emmanuel Owusu, has indicated that it is important for stakeholders to develop a comprehensive implementation plan for the policy.
From what we found from our report, we think that the 24-hour economy is something that would help all of us. We found that it's going to stimulate economic growth. It's going to stimulate innovation. We also did find out that it's something that will create jobs. And one thing that came out is that the 24-hour economy is not an event, and so it is a process. And so if you want to achieve a 24-hour economy, you cannot achieve it in 1 year, 2 years. So one of the key highlights of our recommendations was that we should have a strategic plan, say a 5 or 6 year strategic plan on how we're going to have a full-scale 24-hour economy. We also did say that we should have a secretariat set up, probably maybe a 24-hour secretariat and a Ministry of Trade to coordinate the policy. Otherwise, so that it doesn't become just a rhetoric in its nature.
The goal of the 24-hour economy is to optimize the use of resources and infrastructure, enhance economic efficiency, and improve the overall quality of life for citizens. While the specific implementation and impact of this initiative may vary, the concept continues to be a topic of discussion ever since it was mentioned by former President John Mahama.
Now, newly enskinned chief of the Kani traditional area in the Lambuisi district of the Upper West region, Na Edward Kanse-Nokala I, has underscored the critical importance of education for their community. He observed that Kani has been long neglected in terms of educational opportunities and infrastructure. Nakala disclosed that, as a proactive measure, the community has rallied together to establish a technical institute to address this deficiency. Na Edward Kala made the observation at his enskinment at Kani. Upper West regional correspondent Rafiq Salam was at the colorful ceremony and now reports from Kani.
Kani, a predominantly farming community with a population of 25,000 people, according to the 2021 population and housing census, had been without a chief for over 4 decades. Following the death of Nabe Chebeyayer in 1980, the community has been without a chief. Community and close family members, friends, and well-wishers were therefore overjoyed over the enskinment of the new chief. He is now Edward Kanse-Nokala I, known in private life as Edward Photo. He is a mechanical engineering technologist. The 65-year-old father of 2 was enskinned at a historic colorful ceremony attended by people from all walks of life, including paramount and representatives from the region, sons and daughters of the traditional area. Additionally, 16 sub-chiefs in the Kani catchment area were enskinned to support the newly enskinned Kani chief in promoting development of the area. Na Edward Kanse-Nokala I, in his maiden address, penciled education as a catalyst for development and commended members of the community for initiating the establishment of a community technical institute with the construction of a school block.
We came together to contribute financially, materially, to start a technical institute. So that education is paramount, and we will not allow that technical institute to drop. It will not fail. So we are even trying to urge ourselves to support more and go into government if they can also assist us.
Kanse-Nokala I also outlined some of the challenges facing the community.
Mostly when it is market day, you see that our boys, those who are stronger than us, they will be along the wayside. When you are coming from the market, you seize all what you have gathered in your pocket. So security is very paramount too. And that's why I say the security services should help us to eradicate this thing in our community. Because the community too is vast. Governmental organizations, non-governmental organizations, if they are venturing into that side, they should just give us a help by dredging our dams. We have got 2 dams for the community. The first one was the hand dug one. The second one was the actual using graders, but it was incomplete. So small time so that there's no water. That is one of the things. So we are urging them to come and scoop so that we can get deeper land for water to stay for longer periods.
District Chief Executive for Lambuisi, George Girard, commended the Kani traditional area for the peaceful selection and enskinment of the new chief. He assured the chiefs and people of Kani that they will not be left out in the distribution of the national resources and pledged support for the Technical Institute.
In other areas, when it comes to the inskinment of chiefs, you hear a lot of rancor here and there. Unfortunately, this has happened in a very peaceful manner, and I say a very thank you to you. So, Kani people, we will not forget about you. The Honorable Baligi, myself, and then the government of His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo will not leave you out. In the sharing of the national cake, you will always get your share, maybe more than necessary.
The ceremony was chaired by the acting president of the Ulo Traditional Council, now Professor Bruce Banel Yakubu, and attended by the paramount chief of the Jiriba Traditional Area, as well as other divisional and sub-chiefs, in the region. Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam.
On that note, we bring the AM News to an end. Now we begin the conversations, the analysis, and the discussions, starting with the newspaper review segment. Stay with us.